And wherever you are, this is Coach Lee, and we're talking with Tom. Say hello, Tom.
Hello.
And Tom is from Texas, and he has a BS in biology and stuttering from the age of 5 to 60% of his words, mainly blocks and repeats. Generally first words, but some middle words. He doesn't feel any pressure with me, so we don't see any evidence of his problem here. Doesn't mean he doesn't have the problem. It just means he doesn't have it with me. My family never heard me stutter until they heard me in court live. They never knew I told them I stuttered and they didn't believe me. They laughed, okay? They didn't laugh after they heard me in court. It was no longer funny. It was a crisis at that point. Okay, so he's working on speaking with work environment situations, which is very common, and dates, that's common too, the opposite sex. Most guys have those same, I certainly did. So it's like we're reading from the same script. Coach Javier worked with him a bit and helped, and Tom does some practice sessions. In elementary school, he had some therapy. He was taught to slide into words, and that's not a bad thing. And all other therapies are not bad. Some of them are good. They tend to be expensive, and unfortunately, they don't seem to finish the job because people end up hanging still with the problem somehow. But sliding into the words and light contact of lips, that could help. I never tried it, but that might work. And he hadn't been coached since March of this year until I coached with him beginning a couple of weeks ago in August. But the good news was when I talked to him on August 24th, he said that he couldn't remember his last bad incident. And I still urged him to memorize the crutches 1 through 8 by number because I just feel like you should know what all your tools are. You've got all these tools, at least know what they are. So, because you never know when one might prove helpful. It can't hurt you. And so, but in any event, before I started recording this, I was talking about things you need to do to beat it. But before I get into that, let's just get an update. Defining bad incidents as appearing clearly speech disabled. You told me on August 24th you couldn't remember your last bad incident, and so that was good news then. I assume that is still true.
I may have had one, and I say may just because I would count it as a stutter maybe, or it was awkward, but I don't know if it was like face contorting bad incident.
Okay, now let me just say to you, and this is a very important part of the process, let me tell you. Okay. If you're not, when I appeared speech disabled,
yeah,
I was low as a snake's belly. I was so miserable and upset, and there was no question in my mind but that I looked like an ass, a fool. stupid, etc. I wiped out. The word may was never in the equation.
Okay.
When you only have 2 grades to beat stuttering. To be a great speaker, another story. To beat stuttering, pass and fail. That's it. It's either pass or fail. And when you fail, you know it. You just blew it. And you didn't, may does not qualify. So I've got to write down, can't remember last bad. Does that mean you should have awkward speech? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that situation. Tell me, where was it? What happened? Put me there.
Okay, yeah. Yesterday at work, I was talking to a coworker, and I just had what felt like a long silence. It was probably only a couple of seconds,
Okay.
and it was at the start of my speech, so
Yeah.
I should have used crutch 4 or something to just ease in to what I was saying. But I didn't stutter, I don't think. It was just
When,
an
when you started speaking,
yeah.
you were okay after that.
Yeah, I don't think I stuttered. I may have had a repeat, but that's
Look,
okay.
everybody has some repeats.
Okay.
I do it. So
Yeah.
what? That doesn't mean I sound like I'm speech disabled
Okay.
if I have a few repeats. Everyone does that.
Okay.
So you're a human being here. You're one of us,
Yeah.
and you're gonna make some mistakes. So what? No one's grading you. No one thinks you're a criminal or that you're out to hurt them because you repeated something. No one cares. They don't pay any attention to it. They probably don't notice. If they notice, they don't remember.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, it's uncomfortable for you, but it means nothing to anybody else. Now,
Okay.
a long silence. Many people who are fluent have long silences to gather their thinking, to gather their thoughts, to change the subject. Their mind wanders. There are a million reasons. And they don't think anything about it. You and I, oh my gosh, we had a long silence. Wow. Shame on us. But nobody else is thinking that except us. So we gotta realize we can't hold ourselves to inhuman standards. We just can't do it.
Okay.
Because we get in trouble. Because we're never gonna live up.
Okay.
Now, does that mean you got to have long silences? No, doesn't mean that at all. Because of that, you may have a long silence, but it'll have nothing to do with concern about a word. Now, specifically, when you had a long silence, what was going through your head? Was it a concern about a word, a bunch of words? What was it?
It was a concern about a word. I don't remember if it was I or R or
Okay, it doesn't matter what the word was, I guess. We would practice it if you knew, but it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Pick any word. It doesn't matter because the words are never the problem. They weren't the problem then, and they're not the problem now, and they won't be the problem in the future. You and I are the problem.
Okay.
We're thinking about the words, and we don't look. So, what could you and should you have done?
Used crutch 4.
And how would you do that?
Like, are you doing okay? Or I could also hum. Are you doing okay? Yeah.
You can repeat that exact process on everything you say. I'm not saying you should.
Yeah.
You could. You can also make the hum or sound softer. I'm feeling just fine. How are you doing? Would you do so and so? I'm making a little sound. You may or may not be able to hear it before I speak.
When you talk about soft humming, can we practice that?
Sure.
Because all of my hums are always like, are you doing okay? Like rather.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, look, again, we're not trying to be perfect. what we're trying to be the best we can be. And when we're the best we can be, we're going to be really good by the world standards.
Okay.
So you can make it any volume you want and any length you want. But, you know, I had this, I wake up thinking this stuff. I wake
Oh,
up
wow.
in the middle of the night and I write. And what am I writing about? I'm writing about you and everybody I work with, you know. And you know, a word that came to me, one of the words that came to me last night was babble. Do you know what the word babble means?
Yeah, like ramble kind of
Yeah, just
nonsensical.
chatter kind of nonsensically. Um, prattle is another word for it. Natter, Natter, is another word for it. It's kind of silly, illogical, unplanned, irrational talk, just filling the air, you know. But you know something? It's not a bad thing for someone who has a speech issue to train themselves to babble a little bit. I really don't know what I'm going to say. I wish I had a better idea. I don't really know. But you made me think of some stuff, and I can't remember now what it was I was going to say. Just let yourself babble. You know, when you do that, you will prove to yourself how easy it is to talk. Get out of your brain's way. Your brain is fine. It's a-okay. It's worse decisions, unless it's profanity or something mean, you know, unless it's that, you have nothing to fear from your brain. And you don't have to accept, you can train it not to be profane, and you can train it not to be mean too. And you can babble all you want. You're never without words. Don't worry about the content of what you say. It's going to be fine. Now, if you're giving a speech or at work, you're giving a report to a group of people, fine. Write it out, polish it, read it, memorize it, be Hamlet, have fun with it. I do it at Sam all the time. I write out everything I can before I say it. People like the way I speak at Sam. I speak better than I do here because I'm prepared. Not for, I mean, if I'm giving a talk, I'm prepared.
Yeah, right.
I like to prepare. It's fun. I like to give talks. That's fun. It's fun. And that's what we're trying to get you to think of. Everything related to speech is fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Think
Not
how
there
great.
yet.
Imagine if we were, you know, cows or monkeys or whatever, and we couldn't talk. Imagine that. We couldn't talk to each other. I mean, that would be terrible.
Yeah, right.
So this is a wonderful thing. So don't ever be afraid of the content of what you say. You didn't say you were, and that's a good thing. But a lot of people are. They'll say, "Oh, I'm so concerned about what I was going to say. I want to say the right thing." I said, "No, you don't. Don't even think about that. You just let yourself go. You'll get better. You know, you'll do
Sometimes
better."
I'm concerned about content, I think, like, was what I said right, or should I have like rephrased it this way, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get down to the real acid test.
Okay.
The acid test of fluency.
Okay.
The first acid test is, can you answer this question in the affirmative? Can I say any word, anywhere, anytime to anybody? Can you?
Yes.
That's huge.
Okay.
Hold on to that because I know it's true. Now, why is that true to you? Why do you know that? Tell us why you know that.
I have been using a lot of Crutch 4 and also humming. And with those two things, I should be able to say any problem word.
Not should.
Okay. Sometimes I feel as though I should and I can't.
What do you mean? There's no such thing as you can't make a sound. I don't believe it.
I guess I'm not linking the sound
But you're
to
gonna, all you got to do is hold your tone.
Okay.
Can you make a sound? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Can you hold the sound through 1 to 5 words or so? Yes, you can. And when you hold the tone, you will naturally link your words.
Can we do a little practice, even though I've already practiced?
Sure,
Just a little
whatever
bit.
you like.
Yeah.
Okay, so to practice that now, you want me to demonstrate it and you copy it, or do you want to demonstrate it for me? What do you want to do?
Can I read something for you? I think.
Yes, that'd be great. You have my material, or do you have something else you want to read?
Did you email me the material? I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, of course, of course, of course.
Okay. I think you may have already. Looking. Was it in the starter kit?
Yes, it is, but
Okay.
want me to mail it to you again?
No, I see it.
Okay. Reading aloud.
Oh,
number
yep.
7.
Yep, I got it. Okay, number 7. Silent word. Which one is number 7? Page 7 or?
Well, it's in the starter kit. It had 07 in front of reading aloud.
Oh, yes. Okay. Do I just pick
Open
anything
it up.
in here?
Open it up.
Yep.
And let's take the first paragraph on page 1.
Okay.
Reading aloud.
Okay, and I'll use Crutch 4 and humming. Okay.
Yes.
Reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I use any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I am a thespian, not heart. Regardless, I love doing it. No surprise. It continues to improve my speech. Yeah, because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our voices at its best. As we read aloud, the feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message and the positive emotions with which we deliver it.
Now, don't you think that as you get going, I mean, you put your sound was the dominant thing in your reading. You made that louder than the words you read.
Oh.
And the words you read, you often ran together and did not pronounce them at all. And you chose to break at strange places.
Okay.
Rather, thinking of that, while it is true, you can, it works. You didn't stutter. I mean, no question about that.
Yeah.
But when you're speaking or reading, you want to think about your message at some level. So I'll do it with a little bit of humming, but not much.
Okay.
Reading aloud has now. One other thing I do, I say in reading a text, I use, instead of putting a sound in front of every word, I use some of the words as a sound launch.
Oh, yep.
Instead of going, has become a true joy, I may go, has become a true joy. In other words, I use the word as a sound launch. Now, when you think of any word as you're going to make it a sound launch, you've just defeated any block on it because you're thinking about it in another way. So it's always your word anyway. So I say, reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I am a thespian at heart. Now, I am really using sound launches rather than using sound. The sound, if I were really fearing these words, it would help me to use the sound first. It would help me. But I'm not fearing them, so it's very difficult for me to use the sound when I don't need it. And I've been so many years I've been doing it. I've trained crutch. Look, as soon as we get you to first base, we start working on second base, and that's another. We're going to work on crutch. Well, crutch 11 is really, third base, and we start focusing on message. I mean, second base, maybe we're focused on pronunciation and smiling, because the truth is, if you read this same text that you just read and think about pronunciation to an extreme, there's no way you can stutter because your mind is absorbed with thinking about pronouncing every syllable.
I've tried to add pronunciation with linking in short increments, and it's just too much to
Too much stuff. Okay.
in track.
Okay, but maybe if you thought only pronunciation, it's all you would need.
Well, when we link, are we not running our words and saying them as one?
Well, we are. How are you? But I can still pronounce words as I say them. I'm aware that I want to be understood.
Yeah.
So subliminally or just below the surface, I'm trying to pronounce while I run my words together.
Okay.
It's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And smiling, some people can think smiling and it can have a very similar effect.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's just like so many things I can keep in my head. Like,
I understood. And so you have the right and the opportunity of thinking one thing at a time.
Okay.
But I tell you this, when you practiced one thing for a while, it'll become easier to do in conjunction with something else. You'll find that even if you work on pronunciation for a while, and then you go to smile, you'd be thinking about smiling, but your pronunciation will be better than it was before because you've done that drill and you're into that thinking. When you read this, your pronunciation was not good.
It was non-existent. Yeah.
And you slurred a lot of words, and it was very difficult to understand you. And that's not our goal.
Yeah.
Our goal is to be crystal clear and convincing. If we taking a different approach, if we simply read it from the standpoint, normally what I do when I'm reading aloud, most people that I work with can read aloud alone.
Yes.
Without stuttering. And most of those people, after I've coached them a little bit, can read aloud to me without stuttering. Yep. So what I work on with them, why do I ask them to read aloud? Because I want to see at what level they're thinking message. Because when you can think message, Tom, you need nothing else to be fluent. Nothing. You don't need anything else but message. That's all you need. So if I read this, reading aloud has become a true joy for me. I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others. Perhaps I am a thespian at heart. Regardless, I love doing it, and no surprise, it continues to improve my speech. Because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our voice at its best. As we read aloud with feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message and the positive emotions with which we deliver it. Now, why don't you read that paragraph to me again and think only message, don't think anything else.
Well, can we try linking with pronunciation?
Sure. Try linking with pronunciation. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you like read a line first and then I'll do it?
Okay. I'll do it, yeah. Reading aloud has become a true joy for me.
Reading aloud has become a true joy for me.
I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others.
I seize any excuse to do it, especially to read aloud to others.
Perhaps I am a thespian at heart.
Perhaps I am a thespian at heart.
Regardless, I love doing it, and no surprise, it continues to improve my speech.
Regardless, I love doing it, and no surprise, it continues to improve my speech.
Because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our voice at its best.
Because when we read aloud, we invariably hear our voice at its best.
As we read aloud with feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message.
As we read aloud with feeling, we constantly improve our focus on our message
And the positive emotions with which we deliver it.
and the positive emotions with which we deliver it.
Okay. Now, I
That
think you need
sounds
to
better.
practice softening your sound.
Okay.
Let's go to the page 2 to Counting My Blessings, because it's a poem song and the lines are shorter,
Okay.
and it's more like conversation,
Okay.
because in conversation you normally don't have or shouldn't have long involved sentences.
Okay.
Want to speak in shorter phrases and sentences to be understood.
Okay. So
So,
soft sounds with linking and pronouncing.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
So read the first 4 lines of Counting My Blessings.
Okay. When you say like soft sound, is that just like when I'm just like a soft like
I go, when I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep.
okay.
and I fall asleep counting my blessings. It's soft and short.
Okay. When I'm worried, I can't sleep. I count my blessings. Sheep. And I fall asleep counting my blessings.
Go ahead.
Okay, more. In my bankroll is getting small. I think of when I had none at all. And I fall asleep counting my blessings. I think about the nursery and I picture curly heads. One by one, I count them. As they slumber, their beds. You're worried, and you can't sleep. Let's count your blessings instead of sheep. And you'll fall asleep counting your blessings.
I think,
Is that better?
what we're doing here is simulating a conversation by using a sound, basically, or to start each phrase, or using the first word as a sound launch. And then we're humming and linking to a stop. Now, we're trying to simulate a conversation. Now, you and I can talk to each other in short increments. That's good practice as well. So I can ask you questions and ask you to answer in short increments.
Yep.
When they're short, there's every stop, no pressure. A few words, no pressure. A few words, no pressure. You're letting steam out of the kettle all the time. So it never builds up. When you talk in a continuum, the pressure builds up and can crater you. So that's why. So talk to me. Now,
Sure.
tell me, what do you think about that? Tell me in short increments.
Okay. I like the idea of making my sound a little shorter, a little softer. It makes it not as pronounced and a little more casual. And I like the idea of using the stops to let steam out of the kettle. I like that analogy.
Okay. Now, using this song or poem as an example, I do it in increments like this.
Okay.
When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. I think about a nursery and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. So if you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings. We use the phrases as opportunities to modulate. We change the length of our stops, which creates more variety, and it makes sure we don't forget to stop.
Okay.
I'm combining thinking message because, as I say, when you and I truly think message, there will never be any speech problem. Never will be.
I think for me, trying to think message now is a little too abstract or like difficult.
Okay.
And that like linking and like more
Okay.
tangible things help.
Sure. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Everybody, we move down the road, at our own pace. And you want to do it at a pace that's comfortable for you. That's fine.
Okay.
No problem. So, when I say, when I'm worried, I said it as if it's one word. When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep. Every phrase, I'm saying it as if it's one word.
Still using pronunciation.
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. And, whether I'm thinking pronunciation or modulation, if I think pronunciation, I modulate. If I think modulation, I pronounce clearly. So it doesn't matter which one I think. And I'm not sure which one I'm thinking. I'm probably thinking more modulation, but it doesn't matter because it comes out the same way.
Okay.
But when we have short phrases, it's just so easy to control. Because if we can start, we can finish. If we link as one word, always. You can talk forever. Doesn't matter where it is or who's listening. You got it covered. You can do this.
Okay.
So it's a happy thought, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's go to the psychiatrist's admonition and read me the two stanzas. We have free choice. Read me that down to the end.
Okay. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Use your mental switch to dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will.
Okay. I would just like you to work on phrasing that's a little closer to the thought.
Okay.
We have free choice is one
Okay, I see.
phrase. To accept or reject thoughts is one phrase.
Okay.
Nothing compels us, stop, to think anything accept our own desires.
Okay.
Use your mental switch. Stop. Dictate your thoughts. Stop. Believe that you can improve. Stop.
Okay.
And you will. Try it again.
Okay. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay.
Except after, really, you want to stop at the end of each line.
Okay. Okay. I'll try again. All right. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Use your mental. Oh, yeah.
Now, hold it.
Okay.
The faster we talk,
Oh, my
the
talking.
greater the risk of problems of all kinds. Slow down. You're not catching a train here. Nobody's running away from you.
Like more pause in between the.
Slower.
Okay.
It's not, we have free choice. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. To accept or reject thoughts. Slow
Okay.
down.
Linking in my head, I guess, is like fast, right? Like
No, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
I want you to be lucid. I want you to be clear, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Understood. I don't want you to be garbling and say, God, that guy talks so fast, I can't understand him.
Yeah. Okay. So link clearly but slower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slow down. Enjoy it. Try and enjoy this a little bit.
All right.
It's fun.
All right. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Is that any slower?
Much better. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Use your mental switch. Dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will. I have like a tension headache, right? Because it's link and slow and pronounce and.
Well, the thing is, if you practice each element separately, you'll master it. And then you'll do them readily together.
Well, if I practice linking with no pronunciation, like we get like what I was doing before, or it's just kind of. So I don't know about.
Okay. All right, so normally, if you think pronunciation, it will slow you down, but it doesn't seem to slow you down.
No, yeah.
You go barreling full speed to, but
can we try just pronunciation, I guess?
Sure. Go ahead.
When I've tried this previously, people will usually comment that I'm doing something unusual, like with my mouth or like with my face. So I don't know if I'm over pronouncing things.
Who are people?
Family members.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're sensitive to the fact that you're working on your speech.
Yeah, and
so they're trying to help, but at the same time they're they're being judgmental, and you may have to do some stuff that doesn't make sense to them because they don't have the problem anyway.
Yeah,
I doubt that strangers, I mean, if I were a stranger and I never heard you speak and I heard your reading here,
yeah,
at the beginning, I wouldn't have understood a lot of what you said because you garbled it, but now I would,
okay,
and I wouldn't think much of anything.
all right,
But when you stop at the strange places, I mean, I think if you carry on a conversation about anything with anyone, you will naturally stop in places that more or less make sense.
Mm.
When you read to me, you don't necessarily stop where it makes sense. That's why I went to this poem type things. So we work one line at a time because it'll be easier for you if you can also learn to speak in short phrases as I am doing right now and stopping at logical places. I don't sound strange to you
no,
right now, and I'm doing that. You can do it, same as I. So where you stop is important. And while reading aloud is always useful, there are two reasons to read aloud, in my opinion. One is to hear yourself be fluent. You are fluent most of the time. And when you read aloud this way, you are not hearing yourself be your normal fluent self. That's not what you're hearing. And the second reason to read aloud is to learn to think about the message. And you're not doing that. So the two reasons for reading aloud, you're not doing. Now, we could do a conversation and accomplish more because you're working on conversing and using reading as a method to do it. But I don't think it's really useful. I think it would be better if we simply had a conversation
sure,
and you worked on speaking in short increments and linking your words and using your sounds as needed.
yeah,
You know, normally, I mean, you may not try and think back the last time you had an awkward conversation. You may not need to use a sound very often. It may just be at the very beginning.
okay,
That may be the only time you need it. You say, well, I want to practice it using it a lot. Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
But in a conversation, once you're started, I think you get in the habit of speaking in short increments under pressure. And you can do this when you're not under pressure as well. I'm doing it right now with you. I feel no pressure. Regardless, I don't feel pressure anywhere. My father once said, he was a fine speaker, he was an attorney. I asked him, I said, do you get nervous before you go on? And he said, Lee, if you don't get nervous before you go on, you won't be any good. Now, the truth is, there is truth to that, but I've done so much of it. I really don't get nervous anymore,
that's
and I don't miss it.
yeah,
No, I don't. So I've probably done more speaking than my father. He tried cases before the Supreme Court and you name it and whatever. He represented Walt Disney,
Wow.
Gene Autry, Motorola, lots of major companies. And he was very good at what he did. He died at age 68. Anyway, as did his father. Anyway, and I didn't. So back to you. We're talking about conversations. Do you want to have a conversation?
Yeah.
And do it in a conversation?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So tell me where you were born and a little bit about the family in which you grew up.
I was born in Plano, Texas, and I have two older sisters. One is a nurse, and one is a teacher. Um, my mom is a translator and interpreter. She works with English and Arabic as her languages.
Wow.
And yeah, my dad um, is a wholesale food distributor, and all of my family is back in Texas.
Okay. Now that was good because you had lots of short increments.
Okay.
You could have varied your stops a little bit more.
Okay.
But it was good.
All right. Thank you.
You nailed it. Now, you probably weren't thinking about linking, but you pretty much were linking.
I was trying to think link in short increments.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think I was also thinking speak clearly, not necessarily extreme pronunciation, but just speak clearly.
And you did much, much better.
Okay. Cool.
So, okay, so did you go to public schools?
Yes. I went to public school and I attended college back in Texas.
Okay. And I don't have down what you do. Can you share that with us?
Yes. So I work as a data analyst
Okay.
for the Harvard Medical Institutions here in Boston.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very grateful that I landed an awesome job. And I work with medical malpractice data. So a lot of data about where bad things have happened to patients. And I try to see how we can stop those bad things from happening.
Okay. Good. That's great. Okay. I think I asked you if you had been to Duggan Park.
No, but I wrote it down.
I'm
And I will go.
like a broken record.
No.
I think it's a classic place. And I I went to the original one and I told you they moved.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that I ever went to it after it moved, so I don't know what it's like. But I know the food has always been, they're famous for a number of things. One of them is Indian pudding, American Indian pudding. I mean, that's way back, okay? They were famous. I don't know what they do now. Maybe they do French hot dogs or something. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll go there and I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, and there's some nice restaurants there on the waterfront. Some really nice seafood restaurants. I've been to several of those. And I can't remember. My wife always remembers where we stay and everything. I don't remember that very well. But we've stayed in some nice hotels there too.
Oh yeah, there's
And,
everything's expensive here.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Um, so tell us about speaking at work and how it's going, how you're dealing with that.
Sure. Since our last meeting, I've been doing better. I meet with my boss every week for a one-on-one chat. And this week, I didn't have any bad incidents while I was talking to her, which was really nice. She's a very nice lady, and there's no reason to feel pressure, but yeah.
Right. And do you, as you go into those meetings, do you say, I love to meet with my boss?
No, I think this week I said, if I can say like one word anywhere, anytime, I can say any word anywhere, anytime. Yeah.
Okay, good. But I think I want you to love to meet with her.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's very fun. She's very nice. She's a lovely person.
I'm sure she is. And so this is a treat for you.
Yeah, okay.
You know? And you want to go in there with a smile and keep that smile on your face the entire time.
Okay.
You want to bring joy into that room and keep that candle lit the whole time.
I like that. Okay.
So she'll say, oh, good. When I talk to Tom, he's always good, you know?
All right.
So that's good. All right. How often do you go back to Texas?
Once or twice a year. For maybe a month at a time. And I just work remotely in Texas while I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And well, what part of Texas are you in?
Near the Dallas area.
Okay. Yeah. I used to represent the city of Dallas.
Oh, wow.
I represented Lone Star Steel and the Dallas Times Herald, which was a newspaper that owned the television station. I don't know if the newspaper still exists.
I would have to check. I'm not.
Well, I don't think it does anymore then, but in my day it did. I even represented Lyndon Johnson briefly. I never met him. I never met him.
Yeah.
But I
Wow.
represented him. Yeah.
You've been everywhere, Lee. You've
Yeah.
worked in Texas. You worked in Boston.
Oh yeah. I represented the Los Angeles Times at one time.
Wow.
I've had a lot of fun.
A lot of jobs.
But until I was 40, I was struggling with my speech. Here, there, and gone.
Hard. Yeah.
You know. So Okay, so what's your game plan for the next week now for your speech? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to keep moving this ball forward?
Focus on speaking clearly when I link my words and keeping my sounds a little bit shorter and softer, and just no bad incidents, ideally.
I beg your pardon. You mean no bad incidents?
No bad incidents,
Yes, exactly.
definitely,
There's
because
no,
it's
there's
up
no
to me,
high
right?
feelings about
Right.
it, or should, or any
Okay.
of that nonsense.
Um, I I know I'd emailed you last week that I was at a party and it was a little bit high pressure, and I have another party on Saturday,
Good.
so it's a good opportunity to.
Oh, yeah, you love these parties. Can't wait for these parties.
I can't wait.
You know, always remember too, you know, there's some other basic things. And just talking in a soft voice is all that a lot of people need to do. Until when? Until they can talk in their regular voice and it doesn't make any difference. So talking in a soft voice at a party, almost a whisper, will make it easier for you.
Well, it may be hard at a party if it's loud, but
Not if you talk right to somebody.
oh, that's true.
What was your name? Oh yes. Where did you say you were? Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Look right at them. It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's just another thing you can do to keep the pressure down.
Another tool. Okay.
Soft and slow. It's another approach to the problem. You know, and the closer you get to the exit, the less you'll need to do. But keeping it short and linking just as a habit will make it easier.
Yep.
You know,
All right.
and
Keep it short and soft.
of course, the more you smile, that's another thing. I mean, soft and slow and smile. Those aren't crutches, they're ways of living and being clear.
Yeah.
The problem with linking is it can become, you can blur things when you or anybody.
Yeah.
So slow helps with that. You know, going to have less problem with it. So, but I think we're making progress. And you answered the most important question at the beginning. You know you can say any word, anywhere, anytime. At this party, you're going to have such a good time. You're going to enjoy talking and smiling. When you smile,
Yeah.
you'll be received totally differently.
Okay. Is it okay if I talk less because it's a little high pressure? Okay.
Sure, sure.
Right.
Soft, slow, smile, 3 S's.
Get that slow.
And go in there. I love to talk. I love to talk at parties. I can't wait to talk to some cute girl. Wow.
Yes, Lee. Yes.
That's reason to go by itself.
That's the main reason I'm going. To be honest, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, okay. So I'll see you next week, same time, same station.
Sounds
And,
good.
see if you can write me a short
For the thing. Okay.
little stop stuttering story, a short one.
Okay. All right. I'll do that.
All right. You have a great week.
You too, Lee. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, man.